Welcome to the Don Pod, the supporters podcast. Here's your hosts, Sam and Nate.
3, 2, 1, yeah!
The Dons' final surge officially ends. Essendon 8-11-59 defeated by the Swans 15-8-98 in front of like 3 people at Marvel Stadium. Welcome back to the Don Pod. I'm joined by Nathan as usual. Hello.
Hello, Sam. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Yes, that little snipe at the end was about it. They really did flood out in that last quarter, didn't they? They went, nope, not doing this anymore.
Had enough. I don't blame them. For a second.
I'd love it if our next game was a home game and we just had a really really piss poor crowd, and that would be like, yep, we've had enough.
I did enjoy these salty Demon supporters on Twitter trying to start shit because they copped it for getting 21,000, I think, against GWS. Right. It's like 33,000, I think it was, at Marvel's. Still pretty good, really. There's a lot worse at Marvel, anyway.
Well, I can tell you the ski season's quite bad.
They're still up there, evidently. Yeah, look, final surge is probably a bit of a stretch, but our season is officially done. Now, next week officially counts for nothing. We go to Brisbane to
get flogged.
Really just try not to get belted. Yeah, I think that's all we can hope for at this stage. Anyway, Martin kicks 3 goals. Stringer, Langford, Jones, Draper, Caldwell kick 1 each. Used to saying it. Martin, 31 touches, 32 touches, Caldwell 31, Shield 30. Jesus, I'll get there eventually. Probably Marto's best game for the season, just about, let's say.
Oh, he's had a few other similar ones, I feel, but he was definitely not playing. The positive there is that Archie seemed to play more as Archie Roberts, that is. Got 2 Archies now. Played more as a defender, and he played very well, I thought, and that allowed Martin to play more wing, midfield, sort of roll, half forward, sort of rolling up around the ground, which I think he has more value there, personally, for us.
Yeah, that's where he's good. It feels strange. I think we
What's
did a
your
watch
emotional?
along.
What's the emotion you have?
Well, you know how we talk about the podcast. I think between us, we talk about it being sort of a therapy. We enjoy coming on here and talking about it, and then we can sort of let it all go and then focus on other stuff
Weekends,
or next week or
family.
whatever. I think we did the live watch along on YouTube last night, which in parts was very enjoyable and mostly football related was not. So I feel like we've already spoken, like we've already had that
event
therapy sort of session, but it's not the first time we've watched football together. So the fact we were live doesn't change anything.
I think for me it was the frustration of how like the last 2 weeks you had our titles as sometimes maybe good,
sometimes maybe shit.
Yeah, well, we got that in a game this time. Like
it really drove the point home, didn't they?
It did. Like it's amazing how different. I would love to be a fly on the wall at half time. What was said? Did Dyson Heppel come out and say, "Boys, let's do this for me"? And they went, "Oh well, we don't win games for anyone." No. So because I know there were issues with the first half, but it was better. Yes. And I don't necessarily think Sydney were a mile better in the second half. I just thought we dropped our heads and looked shit house. Like the start of that third quarter, what happened?
I think there's 2 elements. I think, what did Sydney change? I think there's a lot of focus on, what did Brad Scott say, but what did Longmire say to the Swans? But we made them look ordinary in the first half, which, they have been ordinary. So it was just kind of going along as you might have expected, I guess. But we were smashing them in contested ball. We were had the double the inside 50s that they had. We're only a goal up, I think, at half time. But we were talking about, quote unquote, playing well, but not being able to hit the scoreboard. And I was kind of arguing with you that, well, that doesn't mean you're not playing well. If you can't put it on the scoreboard, then you're not playing well.
And I think that's a valid point. I was happy that we're in the game.
And after the second half, yes, that became the sentiment that, I enjoyed the first half more because we were at least competitive and showed a bit of backbone.
There were real moments in the second half where we just, just looked so disinterested. It just was nah, like the Laverde moment where
I was going to say, should we talk about the
yeah
the non-mark?
oh, and I know we do target Laverde. I get that, but it's because of moments like this.
He makes it so hard not to.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in between sinking the boots in and sort of just going, oh well, who cares? What does it matter?
Oh yeah, see that's hurt. That's a dangerous place to get into.
I have been a defender of Mackay. Pardon the pun. I defend him better than he defends the football. But
I like that.
Thanks. You made a point last week that he takes marks between the arcs. So if he's outside the defensive 50, no worries. He's all good. If he's inside, he struggles. And I think it's a back six devoid of confidence.
Oh.
Pidge was good last night. I'll
Pidge
hold my
was very
hand up
good.
there
Yep.
and say
I thought he played really
one
well.
or two rush kicks, but otherwise was pretty good.
He played well.
Pretty solid.
And I thought Archie Roberts played really well.
And Roberts, yes.
Yeah.
But I think for Mackay and Laverde in particular, they are so short of confidence that all they're worried about, all they're focusing on is their man. They've got 100% focus on the man and no focus on the ball. If they can, and then that's what changes for Mackay. Outside 50, the penalty's not quite as bad for letting his man get it. So he's able to fly for the ball freely.
And mark well.
And then he puts his focus on the ball, and then he becomes a pretty good player. So
is this just a remnant issue from the Ridley? Because Ridley's sort of not trained, I don't know, but he's our third man up. He's the guy that's been float across.
I think being a defender, I never was a defender, so I don't know. But I was always a forward because I like kicking goals.
You didn't like chasing people?
No, too hard.
They chase me. Yeah. I'm the skilled one. They chase me. Yeah. That's why I'm a forward.
It's a balance between man and ball.
Yeah.
If you're in a good position, you can adapt and focus on the ball, and that's what May, Lever, Darcy Moore, all these elite defenders did and do. It makes them so good. When you are solely focused on your man, I don't think you're going to get a good outcome very often.
And I'll give another example just there jumping in. Laverde was another moment, maybe even early in the first half, I'm not sure, where there was a kick from about 60 or 70 out, and he was okay positioned, but he turned around and then lost sight of the ball, ran back, and I think it was Parker
took the mark on his knees.
Yeah, Parker took, and Laverde didn't know where the ball was, and I'm like, this is a prime example of you either worry about one ball or man.
If he'd stood there and watched the ball, he would have probably taken it. He would have marked it.
Yeah. But he was like, I've got to get either be better positioned at the start, or just say, I'll go for the ball because that's where my man will probably end up.
I think that says a little bit too. Excuse me. Late night last night, early start this morning. It says a little bit
in the pool.
Yeah. It's hard watching your child swim. It says a lot about their inside of 50s against ours as well. I think that's an element in that the kick to Parker in that example was a good kick because it drew Parker back to the ball. But a better defender would have had a bit more situational awareness.
Yep.
And he was nowhere. You're right. He had his back to the ball.
Right.
And Parker took the mark on his knees. So literally a 10-year-old probably could have got a fist in there. But none of our defenders were anywhere to be seen. And you just go...
And to take that point a bit further, I think that you raise a good point there about how they went into their 50s as opposed to how we went into our 50s.
Heaney and Goulden both hit leads from 40 metres, bullet path.
But they led. But I don't... They had Amadi, who's classed as a very tall, forward.
Good footballer, yeah.
And they have McDonald, who is another tall forward. Well, he'd be a 195-ish. Yeah. But they didn't just bomb it on their head all game.
They create space and lead into it. And Logan McDonald probably didn't get a lot of touches, but he was probably sucking a defender away every time. That led to space for his other players, other teammates to lead into.
Whereas, the numbers at halftime were something like 17 to 34, weren't they, for inside 50s?
Sounds about right. It was double.
Yeah, and so many of those were just bad inside 50s. They were just bombing it on their heads, or the ball, when the ball was bombed on their heads, there was no one down when the ball hit the ground. And there was a few times it really frustrated me too, where the ball did hit the ground, and we fired out like 5 or 6 handballs, and no one.
Yeah, there was that one where Caddy ended up with it, and for some reason handballed it. Again, I'm not going to sit here and criticise first or second year players. I think we've got to be a bit more patient with them, but it is an issue that handball, and it's continually to a bloke under just a little bit more pressure, a little bit more pressure, a little bit more pressure. But then when Sydney do it, and probably not in their forward line, but in stoppages situations or ground ball gets. They bang, 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 and they're out. And this is not Sydney. This is every team we've ever played this year seems to have that sort of space, whereas we don't. We are under the pump constantly when we get the footy, which is okay. That's how it should be. But we don't seem to return that pressure. We did in the first half, to be fair, and we did against GWS when we sat here in round 7 or whatever it was. That's what was so good about that game. Yep. But it's just so hit and miss and few and far between.
So we had a little look at the numbers for the averages for in the AFL, just to sort of broaden this search, because I think it's a fair statement to say this is not. We've been seeing this all year.
Absolutely. So this is another one in the column where we've had more disposals and more inside 50s.
Yep.
And lost. So for the game, I'll let you do the yearly ones. For the game, we were +6 inside 50s. We went at 38.9%. Sydney went at 52.1%. So. Just shit.
Just shit. That's it. Shit. I think that's the best way to look at it.
They've had 22 scoring shots from 48 inside 50s.
We're 4th in the AFL for this year for inside 50s, for the highest,
total,
as in total. Yeah,
average,
best.
Actually, it is
average. Yeah, average, but best. We're the 4th best inside 50 team, and then we're the 2nd or 3rd or 4th last, depending on, the stats you look at either converting that or... shots on goal or goal accuracy and all those sort of things, all those metrics that then once you've got it in there, what you're doing with it. So that is a massive issue come summer training that they need to work their little tummies on. And look, I don't want to put too much pressure on poor old Kako, but it's going to be on him.
A couple of things there, and I'm going to forget one of these as I talk, but So the teams around us in 4th for the average inside 50s, there's one outlier in Gold Coast, but Brisbane are 1st, Gold Coast, Bulldogs, us, Port, Geelong, Sydney. Yeah. So these are like the top 6 sides basically, and Gold Coast, who are also terrible with their conversion. So us and them are like besties. The other point I'd make is, I know we sat there last night and, argued as we do about this, but it is kind of a good thing in the sense that we're getting the ball there. So it's a fixable thing.
Exactly.
But it's been an issue all year. So maybe
it hasn't been fixed,
harder to fix, or it's not being focused on.
Yeah, well...
Which they keep saying we have this really great foundation, which I guess is kind of true when you're getting your ball inside 50 more often than your opponent.
Yep.
But what is it that we're lacking? Because it's not just... You can say, well, we're lacking some forwards, but the defence is still too leaky as well. So it's still
what we haven't looked at, I guess, is our scores against. I'll have a quick squeeze at the ladder. Where are we sort of ranking in that at the moment?
I'm going to just say one more thing too.
Yeah, go.
If I'm Kako, I'm coming into a side where I'm going to get opportunity to score. So that's kind of a good thing for him, I suppose. That he's going to have an opportunity to impact. I'm just going to have a look at the...
Just a quick squeeze through the points against. Like there's Richmond, North and West Coast are clearly,
us. So it's North Melbourne 2242, Richmond 2139, West Coast 2072 and Essendon 1937. Asterisk on that because we've played. The other teams haven't.
True. Yep.
So Carlton concede 100 points and they're worse than us, which is hilarious.
Yep.
Points 4.
They're 200 points in front of us in the 4 category.
We're 8th in the points 4. But I mean,
that's an improvement. I'm sure that's an improvement on last year.
But it's literally your percentage. Your percentage is what shows you this.
Yep.
And if we just look at that in isolation, because we're going to be really bad, we are 4th last on the ladder. We're bottom 4 again. So
in percentage.
Yeah, Melbourne, St Kilda, Collingwood, Gold Coast, Adelaide all have better percentages than us, and then obviously all the actual good teams. It's Richmond, North Melbourne, West Coast that don't.
Yep.
It's concerning. It's one for the...
And I don't know, as you said, I do not know if that's personnel on field or personnel off field. I don't know what the problem is. I know that it must be personnel off field, because if we're getting it in there as the fourth best team in the competition, then that part's good. Yep. Defending, yes, that's bad, but it's that percentage that we need to, like, if you're defending a little bit poorly but scoring really high, you can kind of get away with it. Like you can, and maybe that if you're scoring really high, that takes the pressure off your defense, because teams are, shitting themselves because they're like 10 goals behind you. Oh, well,
Well,
so
that could have the opposite effect, though. It could result in more carefree balls down there, which is harder to deal with sometimes.
True. Anyway, it's something that we've been tracking for the last couple of years, these points for and points against, because the basic fact there is, if you're not in that top 2-3 in those
points against, particularly
points against, but points for and points against have to be in around the same mark, then
you're not going to win a flag.
Do not worry about playing. You're not a good team. That's probably the fact. You're not a good team.
Yep.
You're just a mediocre, run-of-the-mill, can win a few games when the terms are right for you.
I will say there's a little bit of a difference in how I feel about this compared to last year. Last year, I thought team defence, for me, it was about how easy the ball's getting in there and putting the pressure on the defence. Now, I've sort of shifted away from that now. I think we actually have okay defence of the ground. The ball isn't transitioning from our forward 50 to
as easily,
our forward 50 to our D50 as easily. It's the back six. It's the cattle we've got.
Mm-hmm. They're getting flogged.
The issues,
They're having some games where guys are kicking 3 or 4 on them.
And
often.
We've got 2 half-back running defenders that don't want to defend. Yeah, they might be good players, but they're not good defenders.
Yep.
Laverde, I'm sorry, it just shouldn't be there at all. Mackay, I think if Mackay had some more support, he might be a lot better player. Yep. You can't rely on one bloke to do everything.
Nope.
But
Laverde and what should we talk about? Wiedemann?
Well, he was okay. I don't think he's a long-term solution, but he played in a fine game. Like, it wasn't horrendous.
I think there was one moment we went oof.
Yes.
But I guess the interesting thing there was a bit of conversation about why was he picked over Hayes. And am I right in saying that Wiedemann's got no contract in front of him?
Yeah. And we're guessing at that.
That we know.
Wiedemann has no contract, whereas Hayes does, so it might have just been to see where he's at. But Brad Scott talks about it because Brad Scott was asked about Heppel in the farewell game, which we'll get to. But he said we picked the best team. It wasn't about Wiedemann or what, it was about picking the best team available, and Wiedemann's been solid in the VFL. So,
and that's true.
It's probably fair enough. If I'm Hayes, I'm kind of going, I've been pretty solid too, coach.
But I, for me, my brain says if he's uncontracted at the moment, and they might be in negotiations, we'll assume, then you play him for the last 2 games. He's 27, and you go, well, what do we see in him? What
it's the difference between a 1 and 2 year deal.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. You might be saying, are we, get to the next game, and you go, well, we'll just offer him a 1 year deal, or we offer him a 2 year deal. Like,
I actually
whereas we know what we're getting with Hayes, and there's a development happening with him. You can see the path.
Yeah.
So that would be my only.
I say he's worth 2 because I actually think to have a guy like that in your VFL is pretty handy. Regardless, you still need to have 1 good depth, but 2 some decent players rolling through your VFL.
But then you're saying that should Laverde be playing VFL? Laverde will never play VFL. I don't think. I think that I really think he's seen so differently internally compared to externally. I think they see this courageous, give it all sort of player.
He's not courageous. There was one moment running back with the flight where me and you, as it was happening, said he's got to go, and he didn't. He just ran off to the side and did a little fake punch to look
threw
like
out a sort of fist, we guess.
Brother, you had to run and run straight into Parker.
Yep.
Or whoever it was. You give away a free kick, I don't care, but you had to put your body on the line then, mate.
And I think that's part of the problem with our back 6 is that all of them
bit scared of touching.
Well, they're not hard units. Like Mackay, he's not a cracking, sort of hurt someone. Redmond, definitely don't think so. McGrath's too nice.
These private school boys.
And the same with, Laverde's meant to be a bit of a tough nut, but he's a pretend tough nut. He's not like a real
Sorry.
He will put his body online more than probably the rest of them, maybe, but he still does.
He has moments, Lav, but there's still times where I'm like, brother, you had to do something more then.
Yeah.
And that mark that he dropped, that immediately led to Sydney kicking a goal straight after they'd kicked a goal already.
And this was off the back of last week where he'd done the same thing too.
Shit himself. He had uncontested chest mark and he sputtered it because he just thought he was about to get
crunched,
pummeled.
Yep. Maybe there's no talk back there saying, you're fine.
I've never watched any of his streams, but I hope to Christ he's good at playing them because
he's got money to make out of that career.
Yeah, probably make more money out of that than footy, to be honest.
I think that I think as the years progressed, we've become a bit more frustrated with those 6 or 7 guys back there.
Yeah, and like I said, I've tried to defend Mackay several times, but it's getting harder and harder.
I do agree in the theory, and it is just a theory, that he probably would be a better player with a couple of other tall marking options around him, like defenders that can defend, and not all the. And I'm sure I'd love to have a chat with Zerk Thatcher, because he probably was like, "Yeah, I was sick of that too. I was sick of being the one guy that that all got."
Yeah, I reckon I said that to you when, like, late last year. If we can hold on to Zerk and get Mackay, I actually think we'll be laughing, but obviously. Didn't happen, but
so now we start again next year looking for. I guess we hope that Reed, we try that again.
I struggle with this. I also haven't got my light on.
Oh, that's why he looks. Oh,
there we go.
Look at that pretty face.
If you're listening and not watching, it is very pretty. Just so you know, just imagine.
If you've never seen him, he's the most handsome man you've ever.
Specimen.
Brad Pitt, Clooney combined, like.
And younger.
Boom.
Seriously
younger. Yeah, of course. Yeah. They're both in their 50s. Brad Pitt's 52. We were talking about this the other day.
And I'm 30 and nearly
1
31.
next week.
Get to finish our season on my birthday. How good. Happy birthday, Sam. Have a belting.
Yeah, sorry about
that. I forget what I was saying now because I turned the light on.
We're talking about back six, how it's got worse.
So Reed's really difficult because I understand we have to be patient. But at some point, we need a player. We need someone in that position.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
And I think losing Heppel, we've lost a bit of experience. We'll lose Goldstein, but I don't really know what he bought anyway. I'm kind of like, well, can we get a tall Luke Hodge? I've seen some...
A tall Luke Hodge. Can we get...
I saw a snippet of Luke Hodge being mic'd up on the ground last night, or this morning. Just a Hawks Twitter thing popped up, and oh my god, the way he spoke to his players, he demanded so much of them, but it was always in that feedback realm. It was never like, "The fuck are you doing there?" It was, "You need to be there."
Yep.
Did you have a man? Why you need to be on him? It was so direct, but so impactful. And we talked about having a general down there. And I don't know who it is.
Not someone at the moment that I can. I don't know.
We need someone.
Yeah.
What's Goddard doing?
Oh God. I think we're clutching at straws there. What's the guy out of West Coast that's
Barras?
Barras.
Yeah, we're no chance. He's I think Hawthorn.
Yeah, Hawthorn are going to get players this year.
Oh, if I'm not happy or out of contract at another club, I'm going to Hawthorn. The first team on my list is Hawthorn. Absolutely.
Horrible thing. Tell you who would be Massimo D'Ambrosio. Anyway, let's move on.
So I just wanted to run through. Well,
you had player discussions there with Darcy Parish. What do you want to talk about that?
Well, no, it was just some numbers because if there's good players that I haven't mentioned in the possession getters, I like to just acknowledge.
And we probably should point out we've been a bit negative at the moment, but
I think that's understandable. I don't think anyone's here to hear us say how good we are.
No.
DP3 was quite good, but disappeared at times. 26 touches, 6 marks and 4 tackles. Archie Roberts might be up for a Rising Star nomination.
Yep.
25 touches, 6 marks, 4 tackles. Some symmetry there. And Shield, I really like Shield. 30 touches and 6 clearances. Just clean again when some others weren't. Did an interview post-match, which I haven't actually watched, but from all reports was quite honest and very eloquently spoken. Which
again, another one who, from all our understandings, doesn't have a contract for next year. So, be interesting to see what happens with him. There's a few players on the list at the moment, like with Caldwell signing during the week, and Saad Ahoui, he's also signing. So there's
I hope Sarr
Still
gets a
a
game
lot-
next week. I really do.
I actually wouldn't mind that. Yeah, I'd be. Well, like Perkins. Perkins was okay-ish,
Meh.
but
Meh.
meh.
Meh. Well,
I'd be playing everyone in the back. Like seriously, I would drop Levert. I'd drop Levert and Redmond. I'd crash the back six and bring in the reserve six.
treat it like under 10s.
Ooh,
Just backs go forward,
around.
forwards go backs, except for Caddy because he's a teacher's pet.
he'd probably be a good defender though.
He's got long arms.
If he instead went marking and punching, he'd have extra reach.
He'd still run under it though. Bro's got to work on that.
He's fine.
Match stats then. Plus 35 disposals, minus 11 kicks, plus 46 handballs. Too much of a difference there. Plus 20 contested, mind you.
Yeah,
that was mostly first half, I reckon.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of this is
in that department first half.
And then they became very efficient in the second half.
Very efficient. The inside 50s we've talked about. Plus 4 hitouts, minus 1 clearance, equal centre clearance, and minus 1 stoppage clearance. Again, another big tick.
That's a draw.
Another big tick for the Ruckman duo against Brodie Grundy.
Yep. And you take that as a draw in the midfield. Like we broke even.
We were fanboying
with
over
the top team.
Brian in the first 30 seconds. He got the first clearance of the game.
Yeah.
And we're plus 6 tackles inside 50, which I don't understand that stat when we've got that and we've won that a couple of weeks in a row now, but we're really not. My lips are doing weird shit behind my microphone.
Yeah, I saw that actually.
I think it's the green screen messes with it anyway.
You're beautiful. Again, he has beautiful lips for those people that have never seen him.
I got a compliment on my hair the other night. You were there for that.
Yeah, I was there.
Bizarre.
Quickly turned here, hasn't it?
Yeah, you have nice hair.
It's all
what
about
a weird
you.
compliment. Anyway, plus 6 tackles inside 50. Just before we move into the votes, I want to talk about the media attention surrounding Dyson Heppel and the lack of farewell game. And I just want to say collectively to anyone who has questioned that decision, fuck you.
Boom, Sam, love it.
We honestly, if he had played and we lost the way we did, then the media would have been focusing on, well, why did Heppel get a game? Why didn't you just play your kids? Why
play your kids? Yeah.
Why are you playing a sentimental game and not worrying about winning the game of football? We, the people at the ground, got their chance to celebrate Dyson before the game.
Mm-hmm.
And Brad Scott's talked about this already, and we don't need to really repeat it, but he was as on board as anyone that he shouldn't have played over someone who, one, was better than him, but two, was more important about the future of the football club. And I can't believe the amount of non-Essendon supporters who are also not media crapping on about this.
Dyson Heppel is probably one of the most club-focused guys we've had.
Absolutely.
And he knows.
And he honestly...
He knows his time's up.
He may still come in next week. There's one more game left.
Doubt it.
But but he could genuinely play next week. It's not.
Yeah, you're right. But he knows the game. You know, there are kids like you look at Archie Roberts' game this week. What did you say? 25 touches, 6 marks. I mean,
I reckon there was one disposal he fucked up, and that was about it.
And that's his third game. Yeah. Like Dyson, he looks at that and go, "I'm happy to hand the torch over. That's great. That's the game we're in. That's the world. It's not all fairy tales. Some guys don't get to finish on premierships. Some guys don't even get to win finals. That's just the life they lead.
It's the business.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can't believe that we finally made a decision about the football and making sure that we're fielding our best possible team, and we're still copping it left, right, and centre.
He is also the last. Is he now the last of the 2012 batch?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're finally free. And with Sheedy going as well, we are actually completely free of 100% turnover from 2016.
Well, Sheedy
no, but he would have been on the board. He was involved with the club.
Oh, was he? Yeah. I didn't think he was.
Oh, could be wrong because GWS. He was coaching
I reckon he was over there.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, so anyway, from a player perspective, Heppel was the last one associated with that saga. So we move on from it in a way. Not, in all of the ways, but a way.
As much as possible. Votes. I actually remember the match day post this week.
Well done, Sam.
Thanks to old mate for reminding me 2 weeks in a row. And a gentleman by the name of Tim Stride said Sydney by 39. And guess what? Sydney won by 39. He gave 3 to Nick Martin, 2 to Jai Caldwell, and 1 to Archie Roberts. Who'd you give votes to?
Well, exactly the same as the steps.
Oh, copycat.
Well, I didn't.
To be original, come on.
So I also had Martin 3, Calder's 2, and Roberts. So I really like Roberts' game. I thought he was third game, good game.
Yeah, I don't give votes just because I like the player. So I do. Caddy.
And she'll get a vote there.
Yeah. Well, he was good. 3 to Martin, 2 to Caldwell, and spoiler alert, 1 to Dylan Shield. I have liked Dill's games. He had a bursting centre clearance where he hit a target running inside 50. Lovely little body feint to get around one of the Sydney players as well. It's a shame that it's come so late, but I think this is some of his best form at Essendon, to be honest, apart from maybe like the first couple of games when we got him.
A couple of years ago, he was good. He was leading.
Yeah, right at the start, he was very good. But when he was leading the centre clearances, there were still the questions over his disposal. Whereas I just think now he's a step above in the cleanliness and his ability to pick up the ball off his feet,
should be
off his toes, and not fumble.
I thought the midfield and ruck combo worked well. Like, I didn't feel like that was where we were losing the game. I am getting a bit tired of club sending a player to Zach Merritt, and that's all we do. Like, I would like us to, I don't know, can Zach go play as a halfback? Or,
Yeah, can we control that?
Yeah, because it's shithouse to watch because he's just getting trailed around. And then you watch that in the game last night, I think even the guy on him, James Jordan. James Jordan kicked a goal, because he had followed Merritt through the contest. And then Merritt, the tap hadn't gone towards Merritt, so then Jordan picked it up and kicked inside 50 or something like that. But there was a moment where he was, I was like, how about if Merritt's not working as a midfielder, we just shove him to the halfback and use his kicking skills, or
half forward, change it a little bit.
I would prefer halfback, to be honest, and then said Red Dog in there or McGrath in there and say, well, you guys go do something instead, just for the sake of seeing something different.
If Tom Stewart can play as a starting midfielder at a centre bounce, then I'm sure McGrath or Redmond could. The only criticism I would have, and I don't know if I have a solution, but Caldwell following Heaney into the forward line.
Yeah, we didn't like that either.
Caldwell was playing a pretty good game on Heaney. I think Heaney ended up kicking 3 goals. So when he was inside 50, that matchup didn't work. Everywhere else, I would say it worked okay.
Yep, I agree.
But yeah, inside 50.
It's a bit like when Stringer is playing well and somebody tries to follow him down there, he can make him look a bit silly.
Yep.
And I think Heaney does that too, because, and DeGo is another guy that can make someone who's tagging him around, he can go forward and make him look silly because he's very good. Heaney's very, very good in that area.
Yep. Otherwise, Duz was a bit fumbly.
Duz was
again,
shit.
This is why I highlight Shield, because I hate the fumbles. It costs you so much.
The one that went through their legs. That was Shield, wasn't it? Went through his legs.
Oh, he got clean bowled once. No, he did have one moment, Shield, but other than that, it was in the D50.
Well, are we checking Herbertron? Because he often highlights those horrible moments from players. And
Shield had the anti-nosebleed. I don't know what the freaking hell he was doing so far back.
Yeah.
In defence.
Anyway, there's not a lot. I mean, this won't be a long one. It's 2 games to go. It's struggly town. It's ordinary. That second half was shit. I don't know if I like my club at the moment. I liked him in the first half. I liked him for the last couple of weeks, though. At least giving me some. Even the Gold Coast game, that was okay. Like, I could see it coming. Like, I was like, oh, well, that was always going to happen in that last quarter. I saw that. So, but this one, that second half, I don't know if I saw that coming. Like, I really watched the first half. Thought, look at us, if we could just get some goals. Like, it's, a bit like the 1-9 against Gold Coast. We're getting it down there, but we just don't seem to be able to punish them. And then the difference was then in the second half, it just went, no, we're not even going to get it down there anymore. We've given up on that effort. So
we did joke about the fact we play teams into form. So if Sydney win the flag now, they got us to thank.
The same thing. I thought exactly the same thing. Sydney's on a roll now. They'll win the flag. They've had us. Sydney Brisbane grand final. That'll be it. We'll roll Brisbane into some form.
Giants.
Nah.
All right. Next week we play Brisbane at the Gabba. Ends our season. There's no VFL to talk about because we play Coburg tomorrow.
I'll watch if it's raining.
Coburg, who are 18th. So, quote unquote, should be a win to finish our VFL season quite strongly, to be honest.
Where are we on the VFL ladder?
So it's a 21 team comp.
Oh my God.
And we are 13th. But we were far worse because we've won like 6 of our last 7.
Yeah, we have the games. I've watched most of those, and actually I thought, oh, well, right, we must be hitting all the bad teams at the end of the year. That's nice.
Possibly. Any changes? There's no forced changes as far as I'm aware. Brian was subbed, but that would have been planned.
That would have been tactical, which
He
is
did look
it's a good tactic.
Knackered, I'll be completely honest.
It's a great tactic
Yeah,
because I think what he's doing, and without looking at any data, I think he's rucking hard for 3 quarters, and then Bryant's, then Draper's. The theory is he can come in and ruck hard for the last, which I think is a great theory.
Yeah, it works really well.
I'm a fan of it.
We had a giggle at someone in our live last night that said, "Oh, thank God we've got the game changer in Menzies to come on."
Yeah.
I'd be
it made me laugh again.
quite supportive of him being out for Davey Jr. Even if Davey Jr. is a sub, I think he offers far more than what Menzies does.
We don't have a good sub. I don't know who a good sub is, and I don't know what the point of bringing a guy in with 10 minutes to go in a quarter or 15 minutes to go in the last quarter when you're already down by 30 odd points. I don't know what the point of that is.
Hiding absolutely nothing. Yeah.
It should have happened in the third quarter when they started to get away from us. And you thought, well, how can we make this stop? But we never do. And thankfully, I believe that the sub won't be there next year. They'll just play a 23-man team.
So I might even say ADJ for him, but I'd also like to see Sard in for someone, don't care who. Gresham, there you go, easy.
Oh, yeah,
it's not going to happen.
Fucking his form is horrible, isn't
stinking up the gaff, yeah.
What were his numbers last night?
11 disposals, 1 behind, 1 tackle.
1 tackle, fuck you.
Yeah, he's ordinary.
Like, he's turned into a turd, like an absolute, I know he wasn't great at St Kilda.
He started the season okay. We were pretty happy with...
Yep, we were very happy with him at the start of the year, but his form from here on in has, probably from bye round, has been just atrocious. Like, he's a bit... He runs around in circles. He's he looks like he's moving really quickly, but he never seems to catch anyone, and he never seems to run away from anyone.
Bit of Nick Hind about that.
Yeah, he's a bit Nick Hind. Like, they look like they're going really fast, but...
Yeah, there'll be no live for us next week because I'm away. So
thank God for that. I mean, not that you're away, but
no, we like doing it. I'll grab a tip for you, and then we can get on with our weekend.
You said a tit.
Tip.
Grab a tip for you.
Got 2 for
Brisbane.
You right here.
I mean, there's no way we're beating Brisbane in Brisbane. So Brisbane by, I wouldn't say 100, but
99.
It could get ugly in that last half if there's the effort like we saw for Sydney. It could get fucking ugly.
I wonder what Danaher's paying to kick 10.
Because they are in that when we look, they're the best at inside 50s, and they're coming up against what we class as one of the worst back sixes ever.
Ever's a bit rough, but it's up there. Yeah, look, I'll go Brisbane by 5 goals. I think we'll get to the end of the year and go, well, we didn't get belted, so we'll call that a success. And
I'm going to say it's probably 5 goals at the end of the first quarter.
I'll try to be positive for once in my life.
Yeah.
See if that works for me.
Better roll.
Yeah. All right, Brisbane by 130. There you go.
Boom.
Possible. It's 126 against Giants last year.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. A bit of a shorter one today, but that probably just reflects the mood, to be honest. It's not a whole lot new to talk about. I don't think it's all the same sort of stuff. So
I'm sure you don't want to hear about this. If you're listening this far in, you've gone, why did I?
We say that every week. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate your company. Appreciate the support. We've grown a lot over the past sort of 5 weeks, and it's been really great. So appreciate you tuning in, and I have to say it tonight, go Dons.
Go Bombers.